Okay, that's credits. Let's go. All right, we did it. Awesome. What a fun game. All right, first order of business. The bottom center of the screen says that we have beaten 106 games this year. Is that right? Well, it was. It's not anymore. And 428 since we started doing this in 2020. Those numbers... There's been a miscalculation somewhere. We've now beaten 107 games in 2023 and 429 since we started doing this in 2020. Poggers. Okay. So I know that this game was originally another game and then they made it Super Mario 2, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to forget all that and just assume... Let's just pretend I don't know any of that and assess this as an evolution from the first game, right? Because that's what I'm going to compare it to first when I think about how well I like it. I think, obviously, the graphics are better. It's visually more impressive than the first game by quite a bit. It's got a lot more mechanics than the first game does. The first game is really just jumping and mushrooms and flowers and stars, and that's it. This game has, like, all these power-ups and potions and secret doors and, when I say power-ups, I mean, like, those POW things. And bosses. We'll get to the bosses in a second. But the mechanics are quite a bit more complicated, obviously. And I think, largely, they work. It's a lot more interesting of a game, I would say. I'm not saying it's better, necessarily. I haven't gotten there yet. I haven't made up my mind on that yet. I haven't even really thought about it. But it is definitely more complex and more ambitious, comparatively. And it handles the mechanics all very well. I think there are some issues. We'll get to those in a second. But in large part, the game does a good job of really changing up the formula and doing it in a way that works and, for the most part, still feels like Mario. Maybe not exactly, but, you still got your characters, you still got your mushrooms, you still got your sound effects. It's still a Mario game. It's there. It's in there. So all of that's good. All that's good. The combat is more complex. It's a lot more complicated than just jumping on enemies. You gotta hit them with things. I thought that worked all pretty well. And the best part is the boss fights. The best addition. Because the boss fights in Mario, let's be real, they're not really boss fights. Bowser is just a moving hurdle. It's not really about defeating him. It's about just getting by him, not getting hit by him. These are real bosses, and they're excellent bosses, especially for the time. The mouse with the bombs, the three-headed dude, the fireball, the final guy, they're all iconic-looking bosses. I'm familiar with Birdo, but I think that was the only one I was familiar with when I played this one, and all the other bosses are pretty cool and pretty fun, and the way that you beat all bosses and all enemies in this game by throwing other things at it works well. It works really well. So, yeah, that all was great, and the bosses were excellent. As far as issues go, I do think there is a little bit of jank. This game does this thing that almost every Nintendo 2D platformer does, where once there's more than 5 sprites on the screen, the whole thing just starts to slow down. The frame rate goes way down. Everything goes in slow motion for a second, and everything starts blinking. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm talking about if you played video games. This game does that a lot, and in critical moments. And I didn't love that. I feel like it's a better development choice just to say, okay, well, how about we just don't have quite as many things on the screen in this part, But that's part of what you sign up for when you're going to play a game from the 80s. So I can't fault it too much for that. But as far as just an enjoyment perspective thing, I didn't enjoy that. I don't like that. never like it. Ninja Gaiden did that like fucking crazy. This game does it. No game does it that much that I've ever played, but this game did do it a lot more than one. A lot more than one. I don't know that one ever did it. Let's see, other issues. I thought some of the mechanics were a little bit confusing. Like, a lot of the potions that you have to throw to make the doors appear to get the mushrooms on the other side, like in the other world, or the Upside Down, or whatever that dark area is. I didn't know, like, sometimes quite often, there just weren't mushrooms there, so it was clear I was doing something wrong, but that's not really a problem. The game has its secrets. It's very clear this game has secrets. And I didn't find any of those, but that's not really a problem. It was just something I struggled with. That's really it. That's all I can say. A big key takeaways positive. The boss fights. The boss fights were awesome. The combat mechanics were fun. The different ways that you could get more life and stuff like that were very creative. Really, really good. Even playing it today, super fun. And then the frame rate stuff was annoying, and that's really it. Oh, and the character picker thing, that's cool. Although, it does seem like Princess is an obvious OP character. So that's, I guess, a bit of a balance issue. Mario and Luigi and Toad, unless there's something I don't know about, they are all garbage compared to Princess. Princess is clearly the character to play with. But yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it. I'm playing these in order, so I'm really, I think 3 is next. But I'm playing like all the Mario games in order. So like, if Mario Golf came out between these two games, I might play that. It just depends on what I want to play, but no, after this is Super Mario 3. So I'm very excited to play that. That'll be fun, and one of the key things that I have discovered about retro games since I started doing this, especially this year since I started going back and playing more of these retro games, I am a Mario fan. I love Mario 1. I love the Lost Levels even more, and this game is right up there. I don't know if I like it as much as Lost Levels. I'll have to think about it, but I love this game. This is a great game. Love it. And that's not from a nostalgia standpoint, because I don't really have any nostalgia for this game. So, I mean, Mario's killing it. Compared to Sonic, Kirby, Mega Man, those games have their moments, and some of them are quite good so far, but as far as like the earlier ones go, Mario is just kicking all of their asses. I think that they're just objectively much better games. So, 1, Lost Levels, and 2 so far are just awesome. They're incredible compared to... Sonic is not that good, in my opinion. Not yet. Kirby is interesting, but not nearly as good as Mario. And Mega Man is cool, but not nearly as cool as Mario. It's just Mario's the king, man! Mario is the king of games from that time period so far. So, and I know that those games are kind of all over the place as far as everyone from mid-80s to mid-90s, but... still, I don't care. This Mario came out in 1986. It's better than Sonic 2. It's better. It's better than Kirby too. So I'm just finding that I'm a huge Mario fan. So I'm very excited to continue playing them. All right, last order of business. It's been fun, Mario. This would normally be the part where I would say we're now going to delete you from the console and never play you again. But since we're playing on the Switch, obviously we're not going to do that. We're just going to create a suspend point that shows that we've beaten the game. I don't know why. That's just a habit thing that I do. And then we will sign off. Bye, Mario. Bye. Sleep tight. Sleep tight. We love you.